What is going on, everybody? The Real Buzz is back with another week of episodes. I'm Amdu So, joined with my partners in crime.
Hey everybody, it's Malia.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Rashad.
Definitely, man. We're back with more NFL talk. And this past weekend was amazing for football games, except for our teams, So didn't go over too well. So Rashad, I want to start with you. What happened with the Commanders, man?
With the Commanders, we did fall short to the Lions, 27-36 in our matchup. I thought I had us highly in this game, although the Lions had impressed me over the first game they played against the Eagles. Coming to this game, we did slow them a slow start, 0 for 22 to start the game. O-line wasn't protecting Carson Wentz at all. He got sacked 3 times within the first half. We only had 22 total yards in the first quarter, which is completely embarrassing. And the defense wasn't playing at all on all 4 quarters of the game. And going to the second half, we did make those offensive adjustments, so we did go on like a 22-0 run on the Lions and literally shutting down Jared Goff and DeAndre Swift in the start of the third quarter. But our defense did slowly to let up on defense when our offense started to bring points into the game. It got to the point where we were down by 7 points. It was 15-22, and it got to the point where our defense was allowing too many yards and also not allowing like third down conversions and also like getting off the field. That was a huge concern, and things that we need to prepare for next week against the Eagles, which is a key game, is better than the defense.
Definitely.
For sure.
Most definitely. Malia, your Steelers. First game without TJ Watt. It didn't go over
He
too
is
well.
truly missed. Truly missed. TJ Watt, come home. The Steelers missed you, truly.
Definitely.
Going into this game, the stat line was the Steelers are 0-4 without TJ Watt. And continuing, we're now 0-5. You could tell, watching the defense, they looked lifeless out there. Like, they looked lost. You could tell there was somebody that was truly missing on the pass rush. Like, there's no reason why Mac Jones has that much time to make these deep throws. Like, that would never happen if TJ Watt was there. This is the time that we need somebody like Alex Highsmith, Mark Robinson, DeMarvin Leal, one of these guys to step up. And unfortunately, there was, they were absent. The pass rush, hopefully in practice, we have a short week, but hopefully in practice somebody's able to step up. But he's truly missed. Mitchell Trubisky, I don't know. I heard chants of Kenny Pickett in the stands. People want to see Kenny Pickett. I'm feeling them. But you also can't just blame Mitchell Trubisky. You got to blame the offensive coordinator who's not making, calling these plays for Mitchell Trubisky to throw down the field, make these deep throws. So there's a lot of adjustments that need to be made. Hopefully this next week we see some changes. I'm still a Steelers fan, of course, always, but, I'm hanging in there.
Definitely. Look, you guys both, had some tough losses, but I don't know if any loss is as tough as what the Saints just did this weekend. Man, look. The entire week, everybody was talking about, oh, my God, the Saints have Tom Brady's number, this and that and the third. And it looked like it. Defense was on fire. And, during that first drive, we looked on fire, the offense. And then we settled for 3, and immediately at that point, I already knew how the game was going to turn out. We stopped Tom Brady for 3 quarters, and in the fourth quarter, when it came time to, make that final push, Jameis Winston, I don't know what he was doing, but he threw 3 interceptions, one being a pick 6 for one. Just continuous deep bombs to Chris Olave, even though they weren't working, didn't target Michael Thomas as much. Didn't target our leading receiver of last week in Jarvis Landry as much. He'd rather, look towards Juwan Johnson. It didn't really make sense to me. Taysom Hill, I felt like could have got more snaps. But overall, I think this loss really just falls on Jameis Winston. I understand he's injured. He has a broken back, 4 vertebrae broken.
That's crazy.
Rough.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, that's a little tough.
Yeah, that is
Because I
tough.
feel like you should put your health first. I understand you want to put the team on your back, literally, but
I don't know. Maybe it was an emotional game for him. This is his chance at a first full game against his old team. Yeah. But at the same time, if he's healthy enough to go, if he's healthy enough to play, you have to play up to a certain standard. And he just did it, But I don't know. It's up to the offensive coordinator and Pete Carmichael. I feel like he did call a good game, but you could maybe call some other plays that'll be more Jameis Winston friendly. The offensive line could have maybe done a slightly better job at protecting him, but in the end, it falls on Jameis. But look, we're on to next week now, man. A chance at redemption for all of our teams.
Week 3.
Week 3, definitely. We'll see what happens. But, guys, our three teams aren't the only teams to lose this week. You know, we had a couple of bad losses from a lot of teams.
At least we all have a win. I'll say that. We all have a win under our belt. I'm okay.
Definitely.
I'm not upset with losing the last week.
Not the teams that we're about to talk about here, but we look at this list, guys, right? These teams were expected to at least make a playoff push, you know, and so far it's not looking likely. And the three teams that I'm talking about are the Las Vegas Raiders, the Tennessee Titans, and the Cincinnati Bengals. You can take all three of those teams had pretty embarrassing losses this weekend, you know, considering the circumstances and such. So, Malia, I want to start with you. Of those three teams, who should be the most fearful of the future? Which team should be worried the most?
I'm gonna go with the Las Vegas Raiders on this one. I mean, I'm kind of going towards the Bengals, but no, not the division rivals. The Las Vegas Raiders for sure. Coming into this season, you guys picked up the #1 wide receiver in the game, Davante Adams. And it's just, I don't know what's going on. Y'all should have more wins. Like, y'all should be 2-0 in my eyes. Definitely. At least 1-1. Last week was an embarrassment. I don't know what's going on with the defense. You allowed Kyler Murray to run around for 20 seconds. 20 seconds. And run into the end zone, untouched. It's embarrassing. I don't know what's going on with their linebacker, their defensive backs. Like, there was no pass rush in the second half. There's no way that the Cardinals should have came back. There's no way. It's embarrassing. So if I'm a Raiders fan, I'm like, what's going on? You picked up it was a lot of hype going into the season with Davante Adams. You have Hunter Renfrow. You have Darren Waller. Like, come on. I don't know what's going on, but we'll see.
We'll see. What about you, Rashad?
Honestly, we know from previous episodes, I was really highly on Joe Shiesty and the Bengals, and I would say that's the team that should be in panic mode. Is the Bengals, because this is a team that's coming from a Super Bowl team. That being in the Super Bowl, competing for a title, being every single best team like the Chiefs in the AFC. And this team has still had the same problem that they have with a bad O-line. Their O-line has been horrendous for these past couple weeks, especially in that game versus the Cowboys. Michael Parsons having a party on that offensive line the whole entire game. Even coming in, although the Cowboys did blow a 17-3 lead, the Bengals was able to bring themselves back, but they couldn't maintain pulling out a victory against a team that's missing their #1 QB. Yeah. And I would say also their mid-defense. Their defense has been mediocre ever since we saw Eli Apple fold the Super Bowl last year, we all know. But their defense still has not been reliable. And they're relying too much on Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. We all know the league knows that's their main targets. And, of course, some teams are going to notice that. Yeah. So you need some adjustments or some play schemes, offensive adjustments, even defensively. So I would say the Bengals is most of one that's in panic mode.
Yeah, and then with a bad O-line, you can't get someone like Joe Mixon to run. Yeah. Man, he was one of the leading rushers last year. And when you have a poor O-line, you can't get him going. So you got to rely on the pass, and that's not there because, you have these pass rushers in Joe Burrow's face. So, I mean, I agree with you for sure.
Well, Rashad, you're talking about the Bengals and the adjustments. So it sounds like it really falls on the coaching. You know, Zach Taylor, I don't know what he's doing, honestly. I mean, I understand. We talk about the O-line being bad, but most of it has to do with the fact that they played these freak athletes. They played Michael Parsons this past week, and then the first week it was T.J. Watt. So, I mean, of course, those guys are going to get theirs. But at the same time, Zach Taylor,
that's not an excuse, though. Every team you play is going to have a superstar in the pass rush, for sure. So it's not an excuse, for sure.
I don't know. For me, I think it just falls on Zach Taylor. Yeah. He definitely has to make certain adjustments to maybe throw the ball out quicker for Joe Burrow, more checkdowns and stuff, and just stop always looking for the deep shot, because we know how crazy, Jamar Chase is, an amazing, amazing talent. But, like you just said, Rashad, it can't just continuously be to him. We have to spread the ball out. And
they got T. Higgins.
T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, so, they got some fast guys on their offense.
Definitely, that's a great team. But you guys have some great answers. But for me, Rashad, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to lean with Malia. Malia just talked about it with the Raiders. The entire offseason, all we talked about was Davante Adams this, Davante Adams that. And that's not the only move they made. They went out and they signed Chandler Jones, to be opposite of Max Crosby. But the Raiders, this has been a problem with them for as long as I can remember. They always go for the top-heavy guys and never focus on the depth pieces or the pieces that really put you over the hump. They went out there and they signed Davante Adams, but the offensive line is still not good, okay? Josh Jacobs, I don't think is the running back for the job. They need more of a dynamic player in that backfield, and he just isn't really that. Darren Waller's a great player, but I feel like Derek Carr, I don't know if it's the timing. I'm not sure, but they just don't really seem to be on the same page at times. And then defensively, the pass rush is great. Max Crosby, Chandler Jones. But what about the defensive tackles?
Yeah.
What about the linebackers? The secondary.
I was about to say, the linebacker core is pretty weak.
Definitely.
It's pretty weak. You rely on Kyler Murray to scramble in the pocket.
Yeah.
Man, watching that is crazy.
It's
man.
bad. And I mean, in not all of these games, but in the last game specifically, the Cardinals game, they had the lead for like 3.5 quarters. And we saw how badly they fumbled that game. I mean, in a division where you have the Chiefs, you have the Chargers and the Broncos, even though the Broncos haven't looked too good. But still, they were able to win. It's
the Chiefs and Chargers, though. It's a competitive division.
It's no room for error in that division. And I don't know, man. It's going to be a big uphill battle. I'm not really sure if they can climb out of that.
I mean, I agree with you 100%.
So we've been talking a lot about the negativity, the losses. So let's switch it over to the positive side. Like you said, Malia, to start, this was a great weekend of football. A lot of crazy endings to a lot of games. So I want to get into one of those games, probably the biggest game, which was that Dolphins-Ravens game.
That was my upset.
Wow, that was your upset. Okay, I like that. Yeah,
I picked them too. I did. I picked the Dolphins too.
An extremely fun game to watch. Two powerhouse offenses. We know about the additions that the Dolphins had this year.
Yeah.
And then Lamar Jackson, of course, MVP candidate. To start that game, it looked like, though, the Ravens were going to, blow them out.
Yeah.
By the third quarter, it looked over. And then something sparked for the Dolphins, and it was just touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. I mean, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill is a crazy combination.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, I don't know how teams are going to stop that. Two speedy receivers that work well in space. I mean, it's insane. But, guys, Tua, okay, a lot of criticism over him over his last, beginning of his career.
Yeah, for sure.
And he silenced a lot of that with this performance. 500 yards passing, 6 touchdowns. It might be too early to say, but does this put him into the MVP conversation?
Yeah, I think it's too early, but let me just say this. The Dolphins, that game was very exciting to watch. It was, their offense, like you said, the offense is very fun. A lot of speed. Like, Tua's getting the ball out quickly. He's making the plays, making the right reads. I mean, MVP, I don't know. I have to see some more. It's only week 2, but he's looking good. I'm high on Tua. Like you said, he got the weapons.
Yeah.
He's a smart guy. So, I don't know.
What do you think, Rashad?
All right, so I would say for me, for Tua, and he's in my conversation that he's like top 5 for MVP. Although you have Josh Allen, that's like probably the favorite to be MVP. It is too early to call.
Yeah.
But 500 passing yards, 6 touchdowns in a single game. That's not as normal you're going to see.
Week 2.
Especially
Week 2.
against the talented Baltimore Ravens. Being down 35-14 going into the fourth quarter, scoring 21 unanswered points. Unanswered. Of course, the Ravens defense was slacking towards the end of the game. But I would say it's too early to call. But if he keeps progressing like this throughout the season, you have to put him in that conversation.
Definitely.
I agree.
Personally, for me, I don't think it is too early to call because everybody knows the MVP, whether it be in the NFL, the NBA, MLB, whatever, it's really narrative-based, And for the preseason, the offseason, the whole narrative was on Josh Allen. And then it was Patrick Mahomes about how he's going to play without Tyreek Hill. And now we have Tua. Like I just said, he hasn't been the best to start his career. And now he has a game like this. He puts him firmly in that conversation for me. I mean,
for sure.
He has it all. Like we said, they traded for a number 1 receiver in Tyreek Hill, and you have Jalen Waddle opposite of him. You signed Teron Armstead to revamp that offensive line, and they brought in Mike McDaniels to be that coach for them. He really has no excuses.
They looking good.
They look great.
Then you add their tight end, Gesicki in there,
Mike Gesicki,
making plays.
Great guy.
Man.
So I don't think, obviously, he's not going to play like this every week, of course. But if he has a stellar season and they compete with the Bills for that number 1 seed in that AFC, what are they, AFC North, AFC South?
They're AFC South.
South. Are they? I don't know if they're the South.
East. It's East. All right, we're going to redo that part.
No, that's good to keep in.
Oh.
You think so? I think that's good to keep in. Yeah, that's good to keep in.
Sorry. We can
just
cut that out. All right.
Okay.
AFC, they're in the AFC East.
Yeah, we can just keep going.
Yeah.
We can keep going. So AFC East, like we just confirmed. But, either way, That's going to be competitive. I feel like, a lot of the talk was about the Bills. More talk needs to be about the Dolphins, especially now. Especially now.
The revamped Bills.
It's going to be a
the
very
revamped
competitive matchup
Dolphins.
because that division is really going to come down between the Bills and the Dolphins, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
I swear when I serve, now I be surfing swag.